Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Greetings this evening. We are some of the family of Father John Deeney. We have with us this evening the five children of Nancy Deeney Curtis, the dear sister of Father John. And we are so happy to have along with us this evening our uncle Gerald Deeney, John's brother and remaining sibling of the seven Deeney family. And we're just very pleased to have the opportunity to join you and to be part of this centenary celebration. And to start, I will turn it off to my youngest sister, Teresa Curtis Roney.
Hi, I'm Teresa, and thank you for having us to be part of this celebration. I wanted to talk about my uncle as I remember him for his visits and how his vocation was so personal for all of us in the family. Every visit, there was a new family member. Whenever he came home, there was another child born. Sometimes two or three had been born in that time. So we were lucky enough that he performed two marriages in the next two generations. He baptized within the next two generations as well, and even performed one First Communion too. And in addition to that, the hundreds of home masses that we were privileged to be a part of when he was home. So we saw his spirituality in a very deep, close, personal way. And we also knew him as just our uncle. You know, sit down and play a board game, card games, watch a movie, share a meal, share a lot of laughter. So we knew him as a very normal, humble person as well. And we were just so grateful that he was able to come and visit us every few years. And we know how much you miss him. We miss him as well. But he really did love his work in India, and we could only see it in a smaller way in the United States. We're very grateful for that. I'm going to turn you over to my sister, Nancy, and she will tell you.
Hi, I am Nancy Curtis Caramanico, and Uncle, as we stated, Uncle John was our uncle, Father Deeney, and I am so glad and grateful that we're able to share some of our stories with you. And what really stands out to me with Uncle John was his ability to really connect with others. And we always knew that wherever he was, in India or at home, that he was a very present force in our family and in our lives and to all he knew. Like, he would always speak of his prayer list, and everybody knew that along with his daily acts of service, he was praying for everyone, even if they were many, many miles away. He held so many of us close in prayer. When I think of the different things that he would tell us, he would always tell us stories about being connected to his faith and connected to the people that he served. He would tell us stories about his educational work, his publishing work, and he connected all of those stories to the mission and really helped us to understand the importance of his work and his dedication. He stayed connected to us through letters home and through masses. And we were really blessed, I felt, to be able to participate in some of the masses. And he really helped our children, some of our children, to be involved in the masses, to help us be involved, whether we were reading or helping to kind of prepare things. And I thought through that, he really was emphasizing to us the importance of community and the faith community. And how important it was to participate in our own faith with family and with others. And one amazing thing that happened on one of his visits home, I was working at a school and someone donated, we had some computers donated by a local parishioner through his company. And Uncle John took he took a laptop and a small printer, and he took it back to India with him. And it was amazing how quickly he learned how to use that computer and to really do his work. He was doing his publishing work. He was doing his dictionary. He figured out how to use the special font on it and everything. It was amazing. At his age, I think he was like mid 60s maybe, that he was able to grasp that and really figure that out. And he quickly learned to use the technology for that work and really to share the mission through. And then he went on to get very good at email. So he was able to stay connected to us, but also to stay connected to others really throughout the world, like emailing them, telling them things that were happening and just checking in on people. And it just was, he was engaging and connecting regularly with all of us across the miles, and to others, I guess, village to village, but really around the world. He took every opportunity to show his dedication to his faith, support the mission, and really to love and connect with others and be that teacher and that priest, and to really be a caring teacher. So I thought that was amazing. I think a lot of people at his age couldn't grab onto a brand new computer like he did, and he did it. So it was pretty amazing way that he connected and shared the faith. So thank you very much. And now I will give you to my brother, John Curtis.
Hello, I'm John Curtis, and I would like to start with restating a greeting I used in our visit in 1971 to see Father John and the Indian faithful, Johnny Maranam Hai. I have very fond memories of our trip to India, along with our great uncle, Monsignor Daly, as a young 12-year-old. It was quite exciting to travel halfway around the world to visit and spend time with Father John, the Jesuit community, and the Indian people in their own land. As we now celebrate the centenary for our dear Uncle Father John, we are quite honored to be even a small part of the great history of his mission work in India and his unbounding love for the people and their faith. Father John would have been just short of his 50th birthday when we visited in 1971, and was heavily involved in the Ho Bible translation and other books to the native language that was so dear to him and the other priests and brothers. I remember our times at Loyola School in Jamshedpur, the village of Chaibasa, and the new chapel dedication in Bordeaux. Whether it was time playing football with other students, time with other priest brothers in the diocese, or the visits to the villages for Mass, it was an amazing experience that was quite impressionable, even at my young and curious age. I have wonderful memories of the simple and sincere faith of the people of India, and our celebrations of Mass and gatherings were so exciting and full of much joy and appreciation for each other. We trust that more than 50 years later, the enduring mission work of so many dedicated Jesuits has blossomed and grown with so many seeds of faith. We are and remain quite pleased that Father John had such a deep bond and connection with the lives of so many people in India. As we celebrate the centenary, we are very grateful that we are graced to share in his mission life and his great legacy with his family in India. We thank you immensely for being alongside Father John through the years and your love for him. We still hold a special place in our hearts for each of you and wish you much peace, joy, and health with Christ's blessings for years to come. And now I will turn it over to my brother, Tom Curtis.
Hi, I'm Tom Curtis. And when I think of Uncle John, there's an awful lot to admire about him, but I always admired how he was able to connect with the different generations of our families when he would come home as a friend, and he would also connect as a spiritual advisor. And while he was far away physically, he never was far away because of the communications that we always had with him. we were fortunate enough for our family to be able to send three different generations over to meet with him and see him at work and play over in India. And we were also fortunate that with the next generation, when he baptized some of them, my daughter, for instance, credits her strong faith to Uncle John. He's actually reached down to the next generation that never even met him, but they're fond of him and want to know more about him through hearing our stories and hearing what a wonderful person he was. So we're looking forward to be able to connect the grandson with someone over there as a correspondent friend and a pen pal. So we'll be in touch about that. And thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to my sister, Mary.
My name is Mary Curtis Gill, and I just wanted to say that we were always so happy and so excited when Uncle John was coming home for a U.S. visit. And he would stay at my mother's house, and he would say mass for us, and we would just look forward to it so much, because sometimes there were years in between when he was able to get home. But he would land in and settle, and then the next thing you know, the next day he would be talking about, well, I'm going back on this date to India and I'm looking at my flights. And I would think, that's what's happening. Like, is he not happy to be? Does he not happy to be with us, or what's happening here? But then I realized that he really, really was anxious to get back to his work and to his people in India and the Jesuits. And this is really and truly where his heart was. And so if I could just read something, this is a hymn that we sang in the United States, and it's called The Summons. I'm not going to sing it, but just if I could read one little part of it, and I think this really relates to our Uncle John. Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let my life be grown in you and you in me? And that is just what Uncle John did. He took the call from God to be a missionary, and he went to a land that he did not know. He went to people that he did not know, a language that he knew nothing about. But he did tell me that the language came to him so easily and so quickly, he couldn't believe it himself. And I think that was certainly a gift from the Spirit. But then he went on to stay there for 60 years and to be a teacher and a headmaster and a translator for the language of the local people there that didn't have any written language, and also publishing. And because of all that work with the translation, he was eventually able to get the Indian citizenship. And that allowed him to stay there for the rest of his life and be buried there, which is really and truly what he wanted to do. So we just have to say that he was part of our family. We loved him dearly, but he didn't really belong to us. He belonged to the people of India. So we thank you for taking such good care and for loving him so much all those years. And we are so grateful for this beautiful tribute today that you are giving to him. And now I would like to give it over to my Uncle Jerry, who is John's brother.
This is Jerry Deeney, the youngest of seven, just beautiful people. Mm-hmm. And now I'm the only of seven. But I have to reiterate some of the things that they talk. We all look forward to John coming home. And I had one special occasion where a woman came over to the rectory and wanted John to bless her son, who was going to have surgery that next morning, to remove a tumor on his brain. And she was so nervous, and John was so kind and everything. So I can remember driving John to the hospital. We stopped on the way so we could pick up a relic. He then went into the hospital, was there for about 25 minutes. He came out. I asked him, how did things go? He said, I saw a very, very nervous young boy. He was bald. They had shaved his head, and I tried to comfort him. And I think I did the best I could. And well, the next morning, that mother showed up at the rectory looking for John, but John had already left for India. And we greeted her, and she was so excited because when the doctor arrived, they determined that there was no tumor, that the tumor had disappeared. What John had done, the blessing that he had done, really was a miracle. And she felt it was a miracle. And she felt that John was truly a saint. And as a consequence, however, the reason I never mentioned this before was because the boy who grew up to be a neurosurgeon refuses to acknowledge that any miracle happened. And yet the mother went to her grave feeling that John was a saint, that was truly a miracle. And it's something that I wish that I had passed on when I wrote a letter to the Pope suggesting that John might be a saint. But anyway, you're talking to one of the luckiest or most blessed persons in the world to have a family like I have that you just heard from and you experienced, my brother. So you know what it's like. And I just appreciate so much what you're doing. I just can't tell you how happy I am. And I just feel so blessed to be part of this family, and especially the John and the whole family. So thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
In your company I'll go, where your love